Prominent UPND youth member, Don Mwenda, thank you so much for joining us on this day tonight.
The pleasure's all mine. Thanks a lot.
I would love for us to begin from the fact that today marks exactly 198 days to go before the country goes to the polls. How would you describe the political temperature for the UPND ahead of these polls?
The political temperature is relatively fair for us as a UPND. But we're in the democratic dispensation, which simply entails that we have opposition that's also doing its level best to ensure that they chuck UPND out of power, which won't be happening anytime soon though. Yeah.
There's a school of thought that normally is driven by the UPND that there's currently no strong opposition to oust the UPND out of office. Do you think so, as one that has been on the grassroots and sees what people are talking about?
I don't believe in that language. I'm UPND 100%, but opposition doesn't mean a political party. Opposition can be the people of Zambia. Like we saw how they turned out in numbers back in 2021 when they were ejecting PF out of power. So if we don't do things that are meant to serve our people in their best interest, the same people that we are meant to serve are the people that will say, we're tired of the UPND, it is time up. But as things stand, majority of the Zambians are appreciating the works that the new Don administration has put in so far. And it is just our responsibility also as UPND members to preach the gospel of the good works that President Hakainde Hichilema has done so far. So opposition will always be there, but we don't have opposition currently that can unseat the current head of state, who happens to be President Hakainde Hichilema.
What parameters are you using to suggest that the people are happy with what government is doing?
When you look at, we can start at a lot of things that President Hakainde Hichilema promised when we were in opposition that he's delivered. Let's talk about free education. People thought as if it was a far-fetched dream, but he's delivered, and very soon it will be law for every citizen to attain education as it is their right. There are a lot of things. Talk about employment. We've scored in that sector where a lot of young people have been employed. A lot of people that had graduated for so many years without employment, they're now in the civil service. Not only that, we can talk about sanity that has been restored in our country, where the rule of law is concerned. All those are some of the achievements that we've achieved that most citizens complained about when we were in opposition, when it came to the PF as it was in power. So when you look at all these things, and we know the opposition sang a lot about load shedding, which is slowly becoming a thing of the past. All those are things that have been worked on. And bearing the fact that we are looking at long-term solutions and citizens are slowly buying into the idea of long-term solutions, for me, I feel President Hakainde Hichilema has scored.
So you don't believe that there's a lot of dissatisfaction coming from the ground, people complaining that what you promised as UPND prior to the 2021 elections is not what you've delivered? People right now are complaining of the high cost of living that is beyond the reach of an average Zambian. You're not hearing these complaints from the people.
Complaints always be there, Andrew, and we need to be realistic. We can't impress every citizen to start with, but that's not reason enough for us to take for granted whoever is complaining about certain things in society. I interact with people almost on a daily basis, and each and every person has got their own challenges that they're facing at household level. I'll give you an example. There's a mother 5-6 years ago who used to struggle to pay exam fees, and that issue is a thing of the past. They've been relieved of such stress. We've got people that had challenges with their children just going in school. That's a thing of the past. They are happy. We've got parents who had children who had graduated for 10 years without getting employed. Those people have been employed. That's a thing of the past. But mind you, all these challenges that have been sorted out in these people's lives don't entail that life is now smooth. Your next door neighbor might have a challenge that you might not have. So we understand that there are people that are not satisfied with what President Hakainde Hichilema has done so far. We understand. And like the president has rightly put it.
Do you think they're in the majority?
No, they are not.
So majority are happy with President Hakainde?
Majority are happy with President Hakainde Hichilema. And allow me to say this. This isn't reason enough for us to be comfortable as a UPND to think the 2026 general election will be walkover. Anything can happen in politics. This is the reason why us as UPND members have called upon each other to go back to the people and reignite the fire that was slowly diminishing in our people, so that we cement President Hakainde Hichilema's victory come August 13th, 2026.
What do you think is the cause of this fire that is slowly or was slowly diminishing? What do you think would possibly be the cause of that?
I would blame it on individual personalities. There are people that have been tasked with certain responsibilities within the party and the rank and file of government.
Like which ones?
I'm not in the business of mentioning names, but I'll generalize. They are leaders. I'll give an example. If Andrew appointed as DC, believe you me, you're coming from a political party where hundreds of thousands suffered with you. So consider it a privilege, and don't forget the people that haven't been appointed. That's the point that I'm trying to put across. So deliberately, the president has played his role very well by appointing people in strategic positions that we suffered with. But there are those that have chosen to forget the people they suffered with. And you don't expect a person, for example, a person like me to be motivated if a person I expect help from doesn't deliver. So it's normal. No one is in politics for charity. No one is in politics for free. We need to be very honest.
Did you agree with the UPND Nationals chairman, Gilbert Lusoni, who says that the ministers and most of the members of the UPND are letting President Hakainde Hichilema down, and you people are literally playing with power?
100%, I agree with him. Andrew, life is very funny. I'll be very honest with you, especially us that suffered for the party. My story is known. I got locked up times without number because we are pushing for this cause. And the energy that I might have is different from the energy an odd man next to me might have. We have people that have been privileged to get appointments through ministerial positions, through administrative positions such as permanent secretaries, district commissioners. Others are even elected officials, ordinary members of parliament, mayors, councillors. But realistically speaking, they have forgotten most of the people that they suffered with. And this is what might affect us in one way or another, because those foot soldiers, for you to be called a leader, you need to have people that you're supposed to lead. And it is those people that you're supposed to lead that need motivation. I'll give an example. As an individual, I make sure whoever is supporting the Don Mwenda and President Hakainde Hichilema's agenda, in my own personal capacity, my people need to be motivated. It's pointless for people to go in the field, to go and campaign. We're in power, we are ruling. This is just a fact. And at home, there's no food. It doesn't make sense. But the question is, are we going to blame President Hakainde Hichilema? The answer is no. There are structures, there's local leadership that has been put in place to look into the plight of such people. So I agree with my National Youth Chairman when he says most of the people that President Hakainde Hichilema has given jobs are letting him down because of such a behavior.
So now you're revealing a lot of things on this show tonight. How are UPND members surviving if you are disclosing to us tonight that there's barely anything for the foot soldiers that are on the ground that have been running, for the party? How is the party structures intact if you can't take care of your own people?
We can start with, you gave an example of Chama. If we are to have a very honest conversation, are you telling me a party like ours can fail to have sufficient numbers in a constituency like Chawama, even just a membership of 10,000 people, if we're to talk about numbers? The answer is no. In normal cases, we need to have a membership of more than even 20,000 people in a constituency like Chawama. But the question is, with the people that voted, where was our membership? These are conversations that we need to be having. So the point that I'm trying to put across is, some people that were entrusted with the responsibility of even just engaging the local leadership in Chama, interacting with it, those are the people that could have failed in their duties, because had there been that much needed motivation, we would have been talking about something else. But suffice to say, this isn't a uniform pattern countrywide, no. This is happening in some sections of society because of personalities at individual level. I'll give you an example. We've got people that are very helpful, away from politics. We've got people that are very helpful. And some, you can't even approach them, even just for an opportunity. You can't. Because of what? It's a personality issue. And those are the people that might contribute to the affected votes of President Hakainde Hichilema come 2026 because of their individual behavior as individuals.
You still haven't answered my question. How are the structures surviving? If you, as a UPND, prominent UPND youth member, are stating that there's a problem with some of, the leadership at the structure level, and so how are the foot soldiers of the UPND motivated?
In our little ways, we are sustaining them. In our little or nothing that we have, we are sustaining them. But
is the party broke?
The party is not broke.
Does the party have money?
The party has got money. UPND had sustained itself in opposition for over 20 years. Why should we fail to sustain ourselves when we're in power? The party is not broke, but a few people entrusted with the responsibility to look into the plight of our members are the people that are making the party unpopular amongst ourselves. So,
do you think this information has reached the president?
I doubt.
Why do you doubt so? He doesn't have intelligence information to...
I think let's give President Hakainde Hichilema a break from unnecessary politics. I think he's got a lot on his plate that he needs to focus on. The party has got its own leadership in as much as he's president, but it's not his responsibility to look into certain issues. It shouldn't be President Hakainde Hichilema's responsibility to know that my ward chairman in Kaptula ward hasn't eaten. The question is, where is the ward secretary in that ward? Where is the constituency chairman? Where is the district commissioner in that area? Where is the permanent secretary of that province? In fact, the deputy permanent secretary, the permanent secretary, and the minister, the provincial minister of that province, for them not to know that a member hasn't eaten, but that information should reach the president. So the point that I'm trying to talk about is we should allow President Hakainde Hichilema to focus on important national matters, and issues related to the party. Those should be our issues to sort out.
Opposition political leader Andrew Mwansa has made fun of you as a UPND, that the Secretariat of the UPND is one of the hungriest secretariats in the country. What do you have to say about that?
He's got his reasons to why he's saying that. I can't substantiate if those are facts or not, but he could be saying some truth in it.
What do you mean?
Recently, our deputy SG was making headlines, complaining about the same. So the question you should ask yourself is, if a person of a status can complain about such, what about an ordinary member at branch level? What's happening to them? And these are issues that are being looked into, and our prayer is let them be resolved in the quickest possible time, because we're going into an election. Trust me, Andrew, no one in 2026 that suffered prior to 2021 general elections would go into an election without any form of motivation. That's a lie. I'll give you an example. If today I can be told to sacrifice, in opposition I was told to sacrifice, we are ruling, I'm being told to sacrifice. I think even my wife at home will say, my husband, you might not be normal, because what are you sacrificing for? Because the reason why we are sacrificing prior to 2021 is the reason why we're in power today. We've achieved.
Are you sacrificing today?
There's an element of sacrifice, truth be told.
Are you worried that you have the power now, but nothing seems to change, especially for you UPND members?
It's It's quite worrisome.
Or are you patient?
Personally, I am. That's what I was saying to say, just because Don is patient, it doesn't mean that Andrew is patient. How we react to situations, totally different. I'll give you an example. I could be over 10 years in UPND, but there are founding members of the UPND that few need to benefit from what they started. So why shouldn't I be considerate to say, okay, there's this old man, there's this old woman who's been in this party for over 20 years. And it's just common knowledge that we should prioritize their plight before I come in. So for me as Don Mwenda, I'll be honest with you, I am very patient. But the question is my next door neighbor patient? That leaves much to be desired.
Who is responsible for taking good care of the UPND members? Whose responsibility must it be on to ensure that the UPND are comfortable?
It is our responsibility as UPND members. It's not a single person's responsibility.
But why are you trying to make it look like there's someone else who's supposed to take care of you, of the members?
Andrew, we're talking about systems. So, if the president, there's a reason to why these appointments are strategic. There's a reason to why these appointments are just not made from the blues. There's a reason to why these appointees come from somewhere. The reason that I gave earlier. Andrew, if I suffered with, for argument's sake, let me talk about Honorable Elvis Nkando. If I went with him in the trenches prior to 2021, today he's Minister of Youth and Sports. Are you telling me it should be very difficult for Honorable Elvis Nkando to even just facilitate for my wife to get a job? Let's be very honest. My wife is qualified. This is just an example, by the way, right? She's got all the qualifications and ABCD. Why shouldn't there be an opportunity for her to get a job? Because the question I'll ask you is very simple. Even my relatives, how are they going to look at me? To say, her relatives, how are they going to look at me? Even herself, she might not say it, but she'll ask me a very simple question. Is it
difficult today for you to get a job for your relative?
How am I supposed to answer that question?
My question again is it difficult for you to get a job for your relative today?
The reality is the job conversation was just figurative.
No, I'm just asking.
But I don't know, I've not tried it. So I don't know.
But you think for an ordinary UPND member who suffered for the party, they are going through the problem of finding it very difficult even to find a job for themselves?
I don't know, because I've seen a lot of our members get jobs. So I wouldn't comment on that.
Would you then say that they're getting jobs because of the fact that they're UPND?
Andrew, like I mentioned, no one is in politics for free. We need to be very realistic as Zambians, and we need to be honest. This is a very honest conversation that we're having. We saw it happen in UNIP. We saw it happen in MMD. We saw it happen in PF. Why should it be abnormal for a UPND member to get a job? As long as they're qualified. And for us, it's even better because people are getting jobs on merit. We've got people that were disadvantaged because of tribe. But today, no one has been fired in national interest. Today, people are getting jobs through public adverts. These are things that are happening with the restoration of the rule of law. Sanity has been restored even in the civil service. But the point is, you shouldn't be disadvantaged. Just because you're UPND, why should you die inside? In fact, your affiliation to UPND should come with certain benefits. It should work to your advantage. For belonging to the ruling party, it should come with certain benefits. That's what power entails. But it becomes a problem when power is abused. So UPND members have got the right to get jobs. It is within their rights. They're also citizens. We need to be realistic. But they shouldn't be disadvantaged just because they're from the party. No. That should even be an added advantage, because it will even be a motivation for other members out there who want to join the party to say, oh, UPND or join a UPND. You have a chance of getting a job. You've got a chance of pushing for business. These are real conversations that we should be having. That's why I will be very honest with you. You've got friends, Andrew, that some maybe you even worked with, But because there was some sense of affiliation, some even have got jobs. We need to be realistic. This is what power entails. We don't fight for power just to come and appease people when you're suffering. No. It should start with you.
Are you suffering?
No, personally, I'm not. I'm not. Because even when we were in opposition, I wasn't. If I aspired when I was in opposition and I was willing to fund my campaign, why should I suffer today when we're in power?
Is this government giving you contracts?
No, it's not. Because I'm not a contractor.
Let's talk about the Chama parliamentary by-election.
Yes.
The UPND lost this election. You as UPND, went into Chama with highest levels of confidence that you're going to scoop this by-election. What went wrong?
It's democracy. Nothing went wrong.
Do you think you did a good job to campaign?
We did our part.
But the people rejected you?
Yes, which is normal in an election.
You don't think this signals a very bad indicator, especially that we're in an election year, that you're losing to a little-known political party called FDD? You are the ruling party. We have 198 days before an election and less than 100 days before Parliament is dissolved, and you're losing in an urban area?
And
does that worry you?
Allow me to ask this question first. Where are you getting the notion that FDD is a little-known political party? Because FDD is a very big political party to start with.
They have got no representation in Parliament.
No. The size of a political party isn't determined by representation in Parliament. There are a lot of factors that come into play. I'll ask you a very simple question. For how long has FDD been in existence? Who's the immediate past president for FDD?
Well, you're here to answer questions.
Who doesn't know about FDD? So FDD is a very big political party to start with. And to start with, the candidate also that our colleagues adopted was also a stronger candidate. We also adopted a very, very strong candidate. But it's politics, like I said, it's democracy. People at the end of the day, there's a reason why we go to pause. So it's like football. You expect a win, a draw, or a lose. So in that case, we lost. The question is it the first by-election that we're losing? The answer is no. Is it the first election that we're losing? The answer is no. We need to be realistic with ourselves. Of course, that's not reason enough to why we should be relaxed as a party in power. We've gone back to the drawing board to understand why we lost. And some of the reasons are those that we were talking about earlier. A few internal issues that are being resolved and have been resolved already could have contributed to our underperformance in Chama. But it doesn't mean that we performed terribly, because when you look at the numbers that we got in Chama, in a by-election that had such apathy, I think we were better. To start with, that's even a stronghold for the opposition.
You've been in politics for so many years, and you understand one principle, that politics is about perception. And this is very bad perception that is on your head as a UPND member, that you've lost an election. Is it in any way worrying you that the loss of this election could be a protest vote against your party, and that possibly it might happen in the general elections?
Far away from it. To start with, the Chama by-election had its own dynamics. There was a sympathy vote, plus other factors that came into play. And the people of Chama can't appreciate the works that President Ndayishimiye has put in, because it was held by it is a seat that was held by the opposition. So, and secondly, it had an absentee MP for a very long time, whereby people of Chama couldn't appreciate what CDF is doing in other constituencies. I'll ask you a very simple question. Why have we won in other constituencies, but why did we lose in Chama? It's because of those dynamics. There are areas where people are appreciating the works put in by President Ndayishimiye. Talk about CDF. Talk about new allowances. Talk about social cash transfer, cash for work, and other activities that President Ndayishimiye has put in. But for Chama, it was a different case, because most of these things are happening in other constituencies. In Chama, they are a rumor. Like, people don't even believe to say such things are happening in other constituencies. More reason to why it was our wish for the people of Chama to have a UPND member of parliament who would be working directly with President Chama to ensure that the issues that people of Chama are faced with should be a thing of the past. Look, yesterday just rained in Chama and there are floods. Yet, CDF has been allocated in Chama for the past 3 to 4 years. So, there are all those dynamics that contributed to our loss in Chama. And we respect that because it's democracy. That's why earlier on I said there's a reason to why we go to pause. We don't go to pause with a fixed mindset of we just need victory. No. We'll try our level best, we'll participate. And ECZ is a referee in the game.
Do you think this creates very bad perception for you as a ruling party? To win where the president lives in Lusaka? To lose, rather, where the president lives in Lusaka?
No, but Lusaka is big, Andrew. And each and every constituency has got its own dynamics. For perception's sake, yes, that's why that loss hit us. We admit. More reason to why we've not relaxed. We are putting in the work, and we're going back to the same Chama to put in the work and preach the message to the people of Chama for them to understand what President Chama means for the people of not only Chama, but for the people of Zambia.
There's a school of thought that, suggests that the UPND is not popular along the line of rail. Others say that the UPND is a rural political party and that you've lost the favor of the people along the line of rail. Do you think that is a true representation of facts?
It's politics. And we need to realize that we cannot be liked by everyone. Even a person that sells ice cream is not liked by everyone. There are people that are lactose intolerant. They won't like ice cream. But in fact, the majority like ice cream. So even in that case, we understand UPND cannot be liked by everyone. It's normal.
People say that the Copperbelt and Lusaka are no playground for the UPND.
They've got reasons why they're saying that, but we also have reasons why we're saying we've got a grip. Look, the copper belts were dying. The mines on the copper belt were dying, like they were shrinking. There's now life in the mines on the copper belt. Lusaka was being run by thugs. People couldn't go in intercity wearing a red t-shirt. But today, there is that freedom. Even the by-election that we're talking about, there was no bloodshed in that by-election because of what? The leadership that we have at the top. President Chama has denounced politics of violence, politics of thuggery. And these are the huge and major concerns that people of Lusaka raised in the previous government.
Do you think you're going to produce the desired results for Lusaka and the Copperbelt? Copperbelt and Lusaka are known predominantly to be swing provinces. Yep. That whoever wins the presidential election must win both Lusaka and the Copperbelt. With the dynamics that have been presented today, do you think these provinces will be in your favor?
Andrew, politics is a science. And there's a reason to why politics is a science. We shall fail to produce the desired results if our leaders entrusted with certain responsibilities fail us. We saw PF make the same mistake where adoptions were concerned. At times, us leaders get drunk with power to a point whereby we don't want to listen to what the people on the ground are saying. You might not like a particular individual, you might not like a particular candidate, but for the sake of the president's vote, we need to go into a marriage of convenience with certain people. It is very critical that the adoption process should be very, very well managed, because that will be the beginning of a lot of issues that might affect the presidential vote. As we speak, Zambians are very comfortable with President Chama.
What makes you say that?
It's evident, Andrew. Give me an example or give me an alternative that Zambians are floating to say this is a person that should unseat President Chama. We need to be realistic. We don't have a person that can unseat President Chama in 2026. If the Constitution allowed, if President Chama even contested the 2031 general elections, he still have had no match. But the problem that we have is at councillor level, mayoral, and parliamentary level. Here we've got a problem because there are some candidates that have lost popularity in their constituencies, whereby even you can even feel it. Like the president would say, you can even touch the venom. When you go to certain constituencies, you can even tell to say, okay, this MP has lost it. Because of what? Most MPs haven't met people's expectations. Most mayors haven't met people's expectations. Most councillors, but the president has tried his level best. This is why it's not the president's problem if we've got problems of roads, for example, in Kabwe Central. The president has played his role. Off the dual carriageway, there's a 40 kilometers that has been allocated to Kabwe through the president for township roads. But should it be the president's responsibility to go and push AVIC or whichever contractor has been contracted to do those roads to ensure that they come on the ground? The answer is no. There is local leadership that has been entrusted with such a mandate to push on behalf of the people of Kabwe.
Make it make sense to us and the viewers tonight, because the buck stops at the president. When I see a bad road in Kabwe, yes, I might blame the member of parliament, but at the end of the day, I'm saying the UPND led by Hakainde Hichilema haven't done a good job. So make it make sense to the viewers tonight on how the people of a constituency would dislike a member of parliament but still like the president when they are one and the same.
Let's be figurative. It's a husband and wife kind of arrangement, right? You as a husband leave money for relish. And what does your wife do? She goes to the salon. Who are the children supposed to blame? Is it the husband or the wife? These are conversations that we need to be having. So the president has played his role. Just like, why? I'll give you an example. Why is it that CDF is working in other constituencies and in other constituencies CDF is not working? Are we going to blame the president? When money is allocated to constituencies, it is allocated equally. So should it be President Hakainde Hichilema's fault that CDF has failed to work in a particular constituency?
That's what people are going to say.
This is why I'm telling people here, the blame shouldn't be on the president, because President Hakainde Hichilema has done his part. The blame should be your local leaders. If you're not seeing development in your area, don't blame President Hakainde Hichilema. Blame those elected officials at local level. Blame your councillor. Blame your MP, blame your mayor, because President Hakainde Hichilema has given clear directives. This is why, where certain things are concerned. I'll give you an example. Look at ambulances. Each and every constituency today has got an ambulance. Because of what? He said, this one we are bulldozing, we are not floating this tender at council level. Because some municipalities are very corrupt. They wouldn't have delivered those ambulances. So, what am I trying to say? The point is, President Hakainde Hichilema has done his part. Because you don't have a borehole sunk in a market in a particular area, you shouldn't blame it on President Hakainde Hichilema, because he's given guidelines, he's given directives to say CDF should make sure that there's no child sitting on the floor. CDF should make sure that people have got clean and safe drinking water. CDF has the directives to say under CDF people should get loans, people should get any form of empowerment. But if you're not receiving those things, why should you blame President Hakainde Hichilema when money is sitting in your account? We've got councils and constituency offices that have sat on a lot of monies that have not been used. There are those reports in the Auditor General's report. Should you blame President Hakainde Hichilema where such issues are concerned? The answer is no. The man has done his part. The man has employed your sisters, your brothers. The man has employed your children. The man has employed your relatives. The health sector today, we are not talking about any drug shortages. He's done his part. But if you're not seeing development in your area, blame it on your local leadership and give President Hakainde Hichilema a candidate that will deliver according to his vision.
Speaking about the adoption process for the UPND, you are of the considered view that depending on how candidates are going to be adopted, it will then provide a shift in terms of how Parliament, is going to look like. Do you think many of the members of Parliament of your party have become unpopular today?
That's an interesting one. Not in majority. Some have become unpopular, but not the bigger part of it.
Does it include sitting cabinet ministers?
Yeah. They're members of parliament. Yeah. Some ministers have lost popularity. We need to be honest. Some ministers have lost popularity. We need to be very honest with
Why do you think
ourselves.
they've lost popularity?
They've not delivered according to people's expectations. Yeah. It's very simple in politics. Deliver according to people's expectations, you remain relevant in politics.
Do you think President Hakainde Hichilema must do a cabinet reshuffle before the next parliament?
I would recommend that.
Like which ministries must be reshuffled?
I can't mention specific ministries, but a reshuffle is urgently needed.
Which ministries do you think are ineffective so far?
So ministries work with systems, that you should understand. So I can't specifically mention a particular ministry to say this ministry is ineffective. I can't, because there are systems in place, and a ministry's underperformance doesn't fall on a minister's inability to deliver. There are a lot of factors that come into play. But a reshuffle is needed because we just need a certain touch as we go into this general election, because some of our ministers are unapproachable. We need people that can be easily approached as we go into an election. People that can relate with ordinary citizens. So we need that.
How significant your alliance partners going into these elections? Are they a strong force that are complementing the works of the UPND? Because you came into power as UPND, as a UPND alliance. It means that there are other people that helped you come into this power. Do you think they are relevant today, in the growth of your party or the growth of the UPND alliance?
Do you want my honest truth?
Yes.
Some are, some are not.
Like which ones are not?
I'll mention those that are relevant. I'll give you an example. ADD is relevant. I'll give you an example. PNUP is relevant because it even has got a seat in parliament. So there's value. But some, it's business. It's survival. So...
Do you mean that some of these alliance members are with the UPND because of business and survival?
That's it. They've not helped. Most of them have not helped President Hakainde Hichilema, if we're to be very honest. I think the weight on President Hakainde Hichilema's shoulders is way too heavy for an individual who has alliances. And allow me to commend the MMD. They've done their politics very well. They've helped. Yeah. But I think we have a lot of work to do where our alliance partners are concerned.
Would you recommend that that's one thing that you need new alliances going into the next election?
Politics is about numbers. We need each and every person to come on board. Politics is about numbers, so we need each and every person to come on board. So we need as many alliance partners as possible. But they shouldn't claim the credit to say, because of them, this is why UPND is where it is. No. I think we need to give credit where it is due. Our president is good at numbers. He did his numbers, and he put in the work for the fruits that we are seeing today in the party.
Would you say it was political miscalculation on the part of your party to have welcomed Innocent Kalimanshi in the UPND?
Yeah, it was. For me, allow me to speak as a citizen. For me, it was.
Why do you say so?
Recently, we're talking about perception in politics. Of course, transforming is another issue. But his joining of the party, I think he would have joined at ward level, and he would have risen in the ranks and files of the party. Because Zambians are still traumatized with what our colleagues did when they were in the PF. So we need to try as much as possible to rub off the notion of politicians are the same. because today one might be in green, tomorrow one might be in red. There must be a sense of decency when it comes to politics, where morals are also just concerned. Morally, I'll be very honest with you. This I've told myself. I can't work with the PF on moral grounds. I don't believe in the ideologies. I don't. That's who I am. So, we need to also attach a certain level of morals when it comes to politics. I tell people, I can't inherit enemies just because I'm UPND, my brother out there is PF. He shouldn't be my enemy, no.
Are you saying your leaders, those that welcomed innocent Kalimanshi, like the SG and this one also don't have morals?
They do have morals. I'm talking about the person that joined UPND.
He doesn't have morals.
It should have been out of a semblance of decency just to, if he, I know he was, and maybe for innocent Kalimanshi there's an exemption. Let me even start with, because he was our member before. Before Innocent was PF, he was UPND. So there's some element of him being red. But these others, no. Without even mentioning names, some even insulted President Hakainde. And then the driving seat. The question is,
which one insulted President?
No, I don't know, but the question is, what impression does it give to a person that suffered with President Hakainde? And it goes back to motivation, and is not motivated, but the person that insulted President Hakainde has defected and joined the party is a person that is eaten. That's dangerous.
Very soon, Parliament is going to be dissolved, and all political parties will obviously need to present candidates that are going to file in successfully for the elections in August. Your party left you out of the adoption process in the last election. Are you confident that this time around they're considering adopting?
I'm very confident, but suffice to say, Andrew, I have chosen to learn politics in real time, practically and not theoretically. Like I said, politics, like sports, you expect a win, you expect a draw, or a lose. So I'm very confident to say I'll be adopted, but it is up to the party to decide which candidate should be adopted.
You have a very difficult race to run, because unlike how it was in the last election, there was a patriotic front member of parliament in the seat that you wanted to occupy, but now there's already a sitting UPND member of parliament in the area that you want to run. You don't think that presents very difficult dynamics for the party?
No, it doesn't. It's people that are deciding who should be adopted. It starts with the party membership. Members will decide who should represent Kabwe Central from 2026 to 2031. But suffice to say, there's a lot that goes on in politics. At times, the adoption process is mismanaged. We saw it happen with the PF. This is why we had products of the likes of JJ Banda, the likes of Nia Zulu, the likes of Bino Mpundu, and other Bwana Mkubwa Member of Parliament, Warren Mwambazi, and other members of parliament that went independent. It is because the adoption process was mismanaged. So I can't say the adoption process in the UPND will be 100% perfect. We're not there yet. We don't know which people will be entrusted with such a responsibility.
Would you consider running independent, as an independent member of parliament, in an event that you're not adopted?
The principle, Andrew, is in a democratic dispensation like ours, there are a lot of options in which people are allowed to use to contest for a particular seat. So I think that's a conversation that we're going to have when we get there. For now, my focus is to contest on the UPND ticket, and without feeding my mind to say I won't be adopted, because I know I will.
Would you consider it unacceptable if not adopted?
It's life. I'm in an election, so I need to accept whatever outcome it is that I'll get from the adoption process. Like I did in 2021. I was having a conversation with someone, I was telling them, say, compared to where I am today and where I was prior to 2021, I might have been more popular. But it doesn't mean that I'm not popular on the ground. So for me, it's people power. It's people that will decide what route we should take to start with. They will advise, like they advised in 2021. I don't make decisions alone. I'm a people's project. I'm a marketeer's project in Green Market, in Kachulo Market. I'm a bus conductor, bus driver's project in that bus station in Cabo. I'm a taxi driver's project. I'm a street vendor's project, because those people have got hope in Don. Don has been their voice. So those are the people that will advise, say, but Don, I think Chitenifi. No, Chitenifi. But without saying much, my support, whether adopted or adopted, we shall still make sure that we secure President Hakainde Hichilema's vote. Because without him in that office, all of us are useless.
Don Mwenda, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks a lot,
on tonight's edition of This Day.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. Yes.